This week's podcast is brought to you by Office Depot. Come and get your office supplies at Office Depot today. For school supplies, technology stuff, ink and toner, paper, and other office supplies, Office Depot is the place to go.
Week 8, believe it or not, Week 8 college football, Week 7 NFL preview. Back at full strength for the first time in 2 weeks. You know, the fans last week were, curious where Vlad was, after he got his dick wet in college football. Am I allowed to say that?
I think you can say that.
Okay.
Yeah, you can say that.
We're okay with that.
My dick was soaking wet with my first win.
Yeah, it wasn't even close, right?
The Aztecs, baby.
Timing it back here 2 weeks, but, nonetheless, I think we're just going to jump right into this. With sports this week, we're sitting here at a Sixers viewing party.
This is true.
This is like the tailgate for the Sixers game.
Yeah, you're lucky to be
This
here.
is your time if you want to say anything. I know we kind of did this the past 2 weeks, but if you want to say anything, now's your time.
I mean, I'm stoked.
Yeah, I'm just ecstatic. I'm trying to keep my expectations kind of, somewhat mellow. I'm realistic about the season, but just want him to go out and show up and play well and not get hurt in the first game. That's kind of all I'm really looking for tonight. So.
Yeah, no injuries. Would love just a good showing from Embiid tonight. I know he is going to show out, but Matt actually said before the game, do you think they're really going to limit his minutes if it comes down to a close game and he's at the 18-minute mark?
Minutes? Have they said that?
Yeah.
They're saying potentially like in the teens, early 20s, so I don't know.
He thinks it's fucking bullshit.
That is a direct quote from Joel Embiid. That is minutes restriction, if any, is fucking bullshit.
Then that's bull.
Yeah, that's what he says.
Is he the coach?
We're big Joel guys here.
Any other NBA thoughts before the season gets underway? I mean, Gordon Hayward got hurt. Yeah, that was pretty bad.
Gruesome injury. I mean, I was watching it live, and we were talking last night when it was going, and I was just freaking out as it happened because I heard the snap.
Yeah.
And to see the bench's reaction was pretty scary, or pretty real, right? You could tell obviously when you come down to it, that everyone's competitive on the court, but that was one of their brothers who went down, and it was not cool to see. It was very Paul George-esque.
Yeah, little
Kevin Ware-esque.
Yes.
Awful.
Gordon Hayward is a huge gamer.
Yeah.
He's super into gaming. He's into like League of Legends, some weird shit.
Oh wow! I thought you were gonna say like 2K.
No, he's into the weird stuff, the nerd stuff.
Okay.
And
anime, Japanese stuff.
Yeah, he's a big anime guy. But he's gonna be playing a ton of video games. He's probably gonna have a lot of fun here. It was interesting to see Kobe reach out to him.
I did see that.
You will come back a better player and whatnot. But it's Paul George did it
and came back, and you could argue he's better than ever. So no, I wish Gordon nothing but the best in terms of speedy recovery. I like him. I got no issues with him. So. But it takes that Celtics team from what was a potential championship team, at least getting there. To what they really were. They're what they were last year. They got one really good star who's a point guard who's not as good as LeBron. So, they're kind of similar to last year. I thought the Tatum kid showed up a little bit, played well in the second half. So
you could argue that Jaylen Brown is taking a step
nice
up.
Dunks.
Oh, he looked good.
He's pretty good.
Still couldn't shoot from the outside, but he looked good. Can do everything else pretty well. If he develops a jumper, I think he could be a pretty special player. But
Warriors go down last night too.
James Harden is a freak, dude.
I was curious. I was talking with some buddies this morning, and we were saying, like, how does Chris... it's one game.
It's a glorified game that they have been waiting for and have been planning for a while. I think the Warriors are still...
I wasn't going to say anything about that. I was just going to say, like, I'm curious to see how Chris Paul fits with this team going forward.
He did get. He was like get in otherwise. But he didn't score a ton.
He was like 2 for 9 with like 9 assists and a couple boards. He wasn't really that efficient. One of my buddies said this morning, he's like, it's just clear that this offense works best with Harden and the high pick and roll. And where does that leave Chris Paul? I don't know. Again, it's the first game. I don't want to overreact or do anything like that. But I'm just curious to see what his role is kind of moving forward.
He really bugs me. I thought it was like the whole
CP.
Clippers team that bugged me last year, but just last night the antics on the court and off the court, I don't know. He's a little bit too emotional for me.
Yeah, we talked about doing an NBA podcast, but Give me what you think is your most improved team, and then a team that might fall short of their aspirations.
Well, in terms of like the teams that gained the most, I mean, I know it's a homer thing to say, but like the Sixers. Yes! Oh, yes! Okay, I know you hate that and you hate anything Sixers, but like I don't know how you don't say that, but I harp on my expectations with them. I wouldn't be shocked if they missed the playoffs because it's going to take a little bit to gel. But other teams,
could say the Timberwolves.
Yeah, the Timberwolves obviously gain a lot. This being in the West is tough. I still think that they're a top 6 team in the West. Here's a question for you, not to like change the subject, but of the teams in the West, who is the most likely team to take down the Warriors?
I think the Pelicans could potentially do it. A lot of star power there. The homer picks are going to be the Rockets and the Thunder, but I think you're like you said, the T-Wolves can compete. These guys have superstars that I think they can compete.
I mean, we always forget about the Spurs too, but
absolutely,
Rudy Gay is a big addition to the Spurs.
Yeah, and he's going to get healthy too. He's coming back from a bad injury, so Achilles, right? Achilles injury from Achilles for Rudy Gay, so he's coming back.
Interesting to see how he fits with Kawhi.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to watching the Thunder. I'm a huge Melo guy, and I love Paul George, and obviously everyone loves Russ. So I mean, that's going to be fun to watch. I'm curious, like the depth. They don't have a ton of depth, so
and I've said this before.
But
with these super teams, it usually takes a little bit to get going. And what I think, the Warriors are playing. The majority of those guys is only their second year with Durant, but a lot of these guys is their 4th year together. I think that gives them an advantage that. You just can't make up for being a first year super team, if you will, with the Thunder and the Rockets. So I still think everyone's going to be chasing them.
I don't expect 70 wins from the Warriors or anything.
No one's going to win 70.
Because last night they were talking about how Steve Kerr is going to try to rest some of their superstars, rest some of their guys throughout the year, and try to get some of their bench players some more experience, especially for when crunch time comes down the end of the season and playoffs and all those things, if those guys are ready to play. So will that result in maybe a few more losses, just trying to get those guys some experience? I don't know, maybe. But
I think the Bucks, jumping back to the East here, I think the Bucks could be a team that could potentially, it's a big potentially, give the Cavs a run for their money.
Oh, I love Giannis. Jabari Parker's rehabbing still. They're saying probably about January, February until he's fully back.
They have a lot more than
I'm agreeing with you. I'm just saying, like, down the road, they have some guys that I think the Brogdon kid's okay. Middleton plays up. He's all right. I mean, they have some pieces and play Thon Maker. Vlad's a big Thon Maker guy.
Love Thon Maker.
He's good, and he does a lot for your 2K team.
He's his potential's at an 80. I'm sorry, 82.
It's pretty good.
And I think he soars way beyond that.
Wow. Any other thoughts, sports related here before we jump into the college football preview? Or sorry,
review.
Preview.
Fly Eagles fly. I'll just throw that in.
Yeah, how's NHL going? Who's the top team?
Fly Eagles fly.
Sorry, dude. Sorry.
No, it's all right.
Hey, who's the top team in the NHL?
It just shows how much
Flyers and
Eagles. Yeah.
I mean, to answer your NHL question, the Flyers look awesome. But
no, we will talk
Eagles,
about NFL
Eagles
later.
awesome.
But yeah, Eagles do look good.
Just wanted to put it in there.
I think we're going to jump right in here to college football.
Yeah, let's do it.
Crazy week. Started with Friday. Clemson rolls out Kelly Bryant, who literally, I thought he died.
He couldn't move.
I watched that game live. I put a live bet in when Syracuse was up 14-10.
Was it you or was it we?
I did it personally, and then I did it in our joint account as well.
Okay.
But, I just saw it, and I'm like, Syracuse is winning this game. They're outgaining them. Clemson's 1 touchdowns on the defensive end. I'm like, why are they 4-1? Why are they 5-1? I jumped all over it.
5-1, yeah. Syracuse 5-1. Mm-hmm.
Nonetheless, I still think Clemson has a great chance.
Oh, they're fine. They went out, they're fine. They went out, they're in.
Do they win out, though?
I don't know.
Funny story about the game. Younger brother Brady, he was on the show 2 weeks ago. He was at the game.
Oh, yeah, he was. I saw that.
He was at the game.
That's crazy.
But listen to this. Probably the biggest bullshit of the year is the Westchester golf head coach made the entire bus of teams that were up there leave. So he left in the middle of the third quarter without getting to see the
Why
end
did
of that
they
game.
leave?
Why?
because he's an asshole.
We need to plug him in here. We need to tweet this.
Yeah, I'm calling him I'm calling him out right now on Brady's behalf. He's going to be here any minute. But
why is the Westchester head coach in charge of the Millersville golf team?
It's a crime that I think not many people are looking at that should.
And why are teams like? Aren't you supposed to be like? These are your these are the guys you're going against. These are your opponents. Why are you trying to gel with them and watch a football game together?
That's a good question. I think golf's a little differently.
Is Penn State and Michigan sitting at the diner right now eating dinner? Absolutely not.
You could look at it as the Westchester coach getting in all the other teams' head by making everybody leave early.
Who won the tournament?
Phew. With that move, maybe it was Westchester. I don't know.
Nonetheless, that was the early game on Friday. We proceed to the late game. Cal absolutely destroys Washington State in a game that we bet.
Yeah, I'm not I'm happy for Cal. They blew them out. But I'm not worried about Washington State. I guess the only thing I'm worried about is the fact that they're on the road a lot. And I brought that up before. They're on the road for the majority of their games here to finish up. But, good teams slip up sometimes. Clemson slipped up last year and won the national championship.
You lose by 34
Clemson
points.
slipped up and lost to Syracuse. Okay, they lost one game. I don't think Washington State was going to win the championship.
This effectively eliminates them from the college football playoff.
Yeah, but I don't think they were ever really in it. In my opinion, I didn't really ever consider them seriously. Maybe that's just me. I mean, you guys can disagree, but it's one loss. It's whatever. They still have a chance to win the Pac-12 title.
Mike Leach after the game, you have to plug this in here, Flad. He said he just goes off on his team. He's like, we suck. We're a bunch of front runner wannabes. Just
what a great word.
Trash. Yeah, just trashes his team.
Why do you think the offensive line struggled so much tonight?
Why? Because I think they think they're too good and they're not very tough. That's why.
Was it the receivers not creating separation? Luke also.
Oh, they didn't do that. Hell no. Receivers create separation. That didn't happen. No, they didn't create separation because they're not very tough either.
And his athletic director leaves for Nebraska. That was big talk this week in sports. So interesting to see if he stays, if his antics will, fly under the new regime. Moving forward to Saturday, so that's I think what we say 4 top 10 teams lost this week.
Yeah, I believe so.
Michigan tight one at Indiana.
Yeah, Michigan's offense struggled. That's not a surprise. They squeaked one out in overtime and get us to cover, actually.
Yeah. that was another point. At the time of the podcast, the spread was 5.5. I say this all the time. Bet favorites early, dogs late.
Yep.
If you bet Michigan late, you're a loser.
Yeah. What else we got from last week?
Another tight game, Wisconsin-Purdue. Wisconsin only wins by 8. A lot of questions there, man.
I don't know,
West
man.
looks very, very weak.
I think Wisconsin's a very good football team.
That would have been my pick last week. I know I missed last week, but I was going to submit that. I was a little late.
I like.
They outgained them. So, if you looked at the stats and the comparisons between the two teams, you would have thought Wisconsin won by 40.
I mean, you can say the same thing about Penn State and Iowa a couple weeks ago.
That definitely.
Good teams find a way to win, and they did. I like Wisconsin. I think that they're going to come out of the West, and they're going to give whoever comes out of the East a run for their money in the Big Ten title game. I've been saying that since the beginning of the year.
LSU takes down Auburn. LSU's defense in the second half looked like an NFL defense.
Listen, LSU has an identity now. They play good defense. I don't know.
They can beat anybody at home.
Yeah.
I think, anyone can get up for any game, and I think you saw that here.
Mm-hmm.
I think they allow 60 yards in the second half. So there's another top 10 team that goes down. Georgia dismantles Missouri. USC, interesting game.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting game to watch. Utah goes for 2 with essentially no time on the clock. They don't convert. USC escapes yet again. Travel to ND this week.
Yeah, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. But I don't. I think this USC team's very vulnerable. I think they're vulnerable against the run. I don't think their offensive line protects Darnold. Very well, and I think Darnold's talented, but he's running for his life a lot, and it makes it's tough to make plays when your offensive line can't keep you upright. So
yeah, the Browns can't like that.
Yeah, that is true.
Boise State beats San Diego State, who I thought had a chance for the top bid as a non-power 5. They go down. It's looking like that's UCF's spot to lose, if you will. Frost, their head coach, looks great. They destroyed ECU. That was a pick. That was a winner for us. And we did enjoy a nice week last week.
Yeah, as I said on the Twitter, Ray had a couple rough weeks, and he responds to the critics with 2-0 week. Virginia.
What was your
UCF.
NFL teaser?
What's that?
What was your NFL teaser?
I don't even remember, to be honest with you.
Probably didn't hit because all those we were like, oh, great teaser options. Like none of them played.
Yeah, NFL's been tough lately. We'll get there, but. What do you think? Little break here before we jump into our before some of our college picks for this week?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Nice soft break.
Check. 1 2 1 2 1 2. It's rolling. Yeah. Dr. Dre up in here. Y'all know what this is.
So week 8, college football. Here's our picks. Tanner, you want to get going? Ron?
Yeah. For my first pick, I did disclaimer here. I didn't do as much preparation as I should have. So, nonetheless, I still read a lot. I didn't, I'm not reading off the teleprompter here. So, bear with me. I still think these are quality picks regardless of what is said behind them. So, with my first pick, going to take Auburn after a tough loss like we said earlier. They go to Arkansas. Arkansas, terrible. This was a team we loved the past 2 years. They were a team that just competed in the SEC, seemed to somehow, find a way to cover almost every spread. But this is a team that just got destroyed by Alabama 41-9. And I rank Auburn's defense up there with Alabama. So with that being said, I just do not see Arkansas being able to score consistently, if at all. I think Auburn's going to have a great chance to answer here. They have to somehow turn it around before they head to the Iron Bowl against Alabama. That's still a big game, right? They still control their own destiny. That's the great thing about this. They only have one loss, one conference loss. They're in complete control. I think we're laying 15.5. Once again, this spread opened up 13.5. If you saw that early, man, I didn't, but I wish I would have. I would have jumped all over that. But nonetheless, I just do not see Arkansas being able to score. And, comparing them to Alabama, I do think Auburn has a decent offense. If they can.
I think Auburn has a great offense. I think this is a bounce back game for Auburn after kind of laying an egg in the second half last week against LSU.
Arkansas is 2-4. They're not going to have the fan support. The only game they would really get up for is visiting Alabama, but that's not happening this year. And I really do not see this Arkansas team being able to do much on offense, and I think that's where we go with this. I think Auburn, minus 15.5 is the way to go.
Sure. First play for you, Iowa at Northwestern at noon on Saturday. Iowa Hawkeyes 4-2 on the year, visiting Northwestern, who's 3-3. This line's anywhere from 1 on on either side, depending on where you look. It's like some sites I see at Iowa -1. I've seen Northwestern favored by 1.
Opened as a pick 'em.
Yeah, it's kind of gone back and forth a little bit. But give you a little background here. Following victory last week over Illinois, Iowa improved to 4-2, 1-2 in the Big Ten. They're going to try to make it 2 in a row, and quite frankly, in my opinion, it should be 3 in a row if it weren't for a Penn State last-minute drive.
McSorley across the middle. Touchdown! Jawan Johnson. Penn State wins it.
I think it's a top 25 team. I really do. If they find a way to keep Penn State out of the end zone on that last play, they're absolutely in the top 25. I mean, they didn't. Obviously, you got to win the football game, but from a talent standpoint, I think they're a top 25 team. Quarterback Nathan Stanley's been outstanding this year for them, which is a surprise to me. Thrown for just under 1,300 yards, 15 touchdowns, and just 2 picks, Ron. Balanced attack. Solid on defense. It's a team that travels well, and going on the road for them doesn't really worry me that much. I think the wrong team is favored here. I initially opened at a pick and saw it go to Northwestern. Regardless of wherever you see that line, I think Iowa should be favored. Northwestern's been pretty underwhelming. I thought they looked bad against the 2 other good teams they played on their schedule, Penn State and Wisconsin. They should have lost by over 20 to Wisconsin, but a garbage late touchdown where Wisconsin's playing prevent defense and a bullshit onside kick after made this a 10-point game. It should have been over 20, if you looked at the stats. Iowa, traditionally a very good road team, 17-7 in their last 24 road games against the spread, 5-1 against the spread in their last 6 conference games. Defensively, Iowa's holding teams under 19 points a game and under 400 yards of offense. Like, I love the Josie Jewell kid at linebacker. He leads their team with 70 tackles. He's great. I think this is an Iowa. You bet Iowa here. I'm going Iowa money line here, regardless of it's them favored by one or getting one. I'm going Iowa money line.
Northwestern is not by any means a tough place to play. They're a bunch of nerds. Really good school, but they're a bunch of nerds.
Nerd alert.
They're not into athletics. That's like the second nerd alert. Their stadium only holds like 40,000 people. You mentioned the Penn State game. They scored. It was essentially a shutout for Penn State. They scored with like 30 seconds left, but their offense does not look good. Defense, on the other hand, just bad. A lot of turnovers, and like you said, Iowa's the better team. Obviously, Iowa would probably be favored by close to a touchdown if that game was at Iowa. And is Northwestern worth 6 points being at home? Probably not. I like the way you're going here, Ray. Moving forward here.
Well, are you're going with your other pick?
Yeah, go ahead. I want to hear Flag.
Go ahead.
This is a big moment for him.
This is huge. Looking for my second win in a row. I had a nice week break to kind of reflect on my victory and to think about what I wanted to do here on week 8. I'm going to go looking at the Marshall going to Middle Tennessee. Right now, Marshall's favorited at a -2.5, and I'm going to take the Thundering Herd. They have a stout defense. The past 3 games, they're ranked 5 in opponents' yards against, and Chase Litton is a stud. 3 titties, only 3 interceptions, and Middle Tennessee State, they're just experimenting way too much. They have a linebacker that they've been throwing in the Wildcat formation lately, and I just don't think it's going to do much against the Thundering Herd. So I like Marshall there for my second win in a row.
Wow.
Let's pull it off here, Herd, and let's get it done.
How about a quick break before we jump into some of our last picks here?
Sorry for that brief break there. We some fans joining the studio, banging on our door. Nonetheless, give you another pick here. Going against ECU for the 4th straight week. I'm gonna ride it till I'm literally gonna pick them until they don't cover. Visiting BYU. This game is at 7:00. I'm not sure why. This is 2 of the worst teams in college football. 7:00 game. Must be ECU's homecoming. BYU. You're gonna have to lay 5.5. I'm gonna do it just out of principle here. My thing is, BYU has played much tougher opponents. Let me pull their schedule up here. My apologies, but not. We talk about ECU every week and how terrible they are. They lost last week to UCF.
By like
we were laying 35. Yeah. That spread should have been somewhere around 40. But BYU, their team traditionally, they have huge offense and defensive lines. That's what they do. The Mormons over there in Utah, they're huge, right? This is a team that has played LSU. They played Utah, Wisconsin, Utah State, who's not a bad team. They played Boise State and Mississippi State. They only have 1 win against Portland, but whatever. Nonetheless, I think BYU has been waiting for this game for a while. They've just gotten beaten up by these better teams, and they knew they were going to lose those games, but I think they can, potentially sniff a victory here. A rather large victory, and as long as this stays under a touchdown, I'm going to take BYU.
Yeah, I don't want anything to fucking do with this game. These teams are fucking awful, and I hate putting money on fucking awful teams.
But yeah, like my thing, you look at who they've played. I think BYU's clearly been,
I'm taking BYU until ECU covers a game, but I just want absolutely nothing.
No, I'm not going to watch this game. Like I said, I don't know why it's at 7:00. Someone could give me an answer to that.
I'll take BYU because of their mascot. Have you seen him shred on the field with his dance moves? He's unbelievable.
Not. That's a good reason to take him, though.
Yeah.
How about
sometimes that's all you need, straight up.
Second pick, I'll go University of North Carolina at Virginia Tech. 3:30 game, Virginia Tech -21. Blacksburg, real tough place to play on my bucket list.
We talked about this
of stadiums to go to. I really like this Hokies football team. It's really also about fading UNC, who's just come off a absolute whipping from Notre Dame 2 weeks ago. A loss in Virginia last weekend. Had Virginia as a play. Virginia gets it done. UNC just 1-6 on the year, also 1-6 against the spread. Haven't really looked competitive on either side of the football. Virginia Tech has a lot to play for. This team took it to UNC last year, beat them 34-3 with Mitchell the Bitchel Trubisky as the quarterback for the Tar Heels.
Shout out to him getting his first victory.
Yeah, how about that? Josh Jackson at quarterback for Virginia Tech, having a great season, throwing for about 1,700 yards, 13 TDs, and 4 picks. I look for that to continue this week against a very bad North Carolina football team that just can't stop anyone or seem to really move the football at all. Lay the 21 points with confidence. I expect Tech to get into the 40s here, 45-10 or something like that. Give me Virginia Tech minus 21.
All right. Let's get into NFL.
Well, I have my dog of the week here.
Wow, dog of the week.
Dog of the week. Going to fade Arizona. I think they had 2 great upsets in back-to-back weeks. Rich Rod was on the hot seat prior to that. Still don't believe in this Arizona team. I'm going to take Cal. Cal money line. You're getting it around a field goal, so you're going to get plus money here with Cal. Cal came off the massive beatdown of Wazoo. I think that gives them confidence here in the short term, and they get to stay at home here. So I'm going to take Cal.
Yeah. All right, so I got a segment that I'd like to start up here. So in light of the Sixers season, we're all very excited. Before I get into this, we're like a tier 2 podcast, sports podcast. Let's be honest. We'll be humble about it.
We are a video podcast.
Yeah. Like tier 1 being like the Colin Cowards, the Pardon My Take, the Mike and Mikes of the world. But so, being humble about this, we're trying to get noticed. We're trying to get our name out there.
We're close to 600 followers.
Yeah, we're getting there.
I'm excited for your segment here. Is this going to take us over the peak?
It should. So that's what I'm looking to do. Trying to get our name out there. And for listeners that are familiar with the 97.5 The Fanatic, they have a bitch and complain line. A couple months ago, I started calling in and doing a mean Brett Brown impression, and they loved it. And I'm this mysterious bitch and complain caller who they have no idea what my background is, but my hopes is that, they'll reach out and hopefully we'll get an ad spot on The Fanatic from this.
That would be fucking awesome, actually.
Yeah, so I'll play an old clip for you just to kind of show you what I've done in the past.
Hello, you've reached the bitch and complain line. Brought to you by Swartz Cullen. Get the money you deserve. Call 1-800-JUSTICE. Leave a message after the beep.
Simmons with the lob to Embiid. Wow, what a slam! A monstrous slam by Joel Embiid. Compliments of his friend, Ben Simmons.
I like it. I love it. I like it. I love it. Give me another one.
Hello, good morning crew. This is Brett Brown with the Philadelphia 76ers. Just wanted to let you know that moving forward, we're going to have Ben Simmons at the point. Going to bring Mark Kelly. He's going to play off the ball. Dario, he'll come off the bench. And just wanted to let you know that. Any questions, let me know.
Oh my God, that was so good. Uncanny. Bro, who was that?
Good morning crew. This is Brett Brown with the Philadelphia 76ers.
There are certain words you can't fake. He was so great. Morning and Brown. Play that again, bro. Listen, Ant, to Morning and Brown. You've been up there. You know. If you can.
Hello, good morning crew. This is Brett Brown with the Philadelphia 76ers.
It's just so difficult to fake that accent. That is amazing. Bro, who did that? You have any idea?
I do not know.
Wasn't that awesome?
Yeah, it was really good.
That was one of the greatest Brett Brown impersonations I've ever heard.
We don't know, huh?
Wow.
But I'm going to call in right now and do a bitch and complain line recording with my Brett Brown impression. Tune in tomorrow because it should be on. Morning. So let's get right into this.
Hello, you've reached the Nothing to Bitch and Complain About line. Brought to you by Schwartz Cullen. Get the money you deserve. Call 1-800-JUSTICE. Please leave a message after the beep.
Yes, good morning. This is Brett Brown with the Philadelphia 76ers. Just really excited for the new year. Certainly, the Eagles are doing their thing, but don't sleep on us. We're here looking to make some noise in the city. Hope everybody enjoyed the first game of the season last night. And playoffs, we're coming for you. All right, so
That's gonna be
tune in
That's
tomorrow,
absolutely gonna be on.
and I'm gonna do this every week. That was something light, just a little teaser for you guys. Tune in tomorrow. We'll recap it next week and show you their
Question
reactions.
for you: Can you say a couple Sixers players' names for us? Like, how would you say Markelle?
Markelle Fultz, Dario Saric. You got Simmons running the point. Embiid, if healthy, should be a threat in the league. I expect him to be a perennial all-star here.
I was thinking perennial all-star too. That's hysterical. You pulled that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, this is going to be a weekly thing, guys. Looking forward to seeing how it elevates the show. But let's get into some NFL.
Hey, we talked about how many upsets happened in college football. NFL was very, very similar.
I don't want to talk about it.
A lot of double-digit favorites going down. In my survivor pool, we went from like 250 down to we're under 100. I'm playing for 20 grand.
Wow.
Yeah, I think we're at like.
Who'd you pick?
I had the
Houston, right?
Yeah, I had Houston.
Damn it, dude! I picked the Falcons, and
They just choke it away. It's
well,
17-0.
so it was down to 10 people, and the picks were the Broncos. They lost, and I was the only Falcon, and the other ones were the Redskins. They almost lost.
Yeah,
The
the
49ers should have won.
Yeah.
If the Redskins would have lost, it would have been a wash, and we would have started over fresh.
really.
Yeah, so I'm really pissed. But sorry, keep going.
New England gets a scare as well. That was another popular pick. You said Washington. What was the other? Oakland lost. That was a big one. Denver lost.
The Denver loss to me was like one of the biggest surprises of the week because the whole world, including myself, was on Denver.
It was like an obvious pick.
Yeah, and but that's what's crazy about the NFL sometimes. Just like anytime you have the whole world on one team, the team that everyone doesn't expect to win wins. Like the whole world was on Kansas City too, and the Steelers win. Like it's just it's crazy how sometimes that works.
It's a week-to-week league. It really is. Fireworks in New Orleans.
Yeah,
Saints
that was
were
like
up huge, and
90 points scored in that game.
The Lions just scored like a punt return, pick six. I thought they were going to get the cover. We had them in a teaser. We didn't. I did, but
It's kind of funny how Adrian Peterson just wasn't meant for the team, and they're playing better without him.
Yeah,
talk about Adrian Peterson.
He went off.
Yeah, he did. He did.
I like AP. I was happy to see that. So
I thought that was a very, very entertaining week of NFL.
For sure.
Moving forward to week 7, we've been giving out survivor picks. This week is tough. I think the largest line is Tennessee, -5.5. Last time I checked. Minnesota is also a 5.5 point favorite. Dallas 6-point favorite. Pittsburgh a 5-point favorite. Man, I really, really do not know where I'm going to go here with my survivor pick. I might fade the Browns. Tennessee looked decent, on offense on Monday night.
that's probably the way to go.
Eagles
I'm
on
kind of
Monday night,
through.
maybe?
That game scares me just because I think the Eagles will win that game, but a division game, I wouldn't pick a survivor pick in a division game
I think
like
you
that.
need to stay away from the high-profile games. The games you think a lot of people are going to pick, especially late. I say late. There's only 10% of the people left. So
I would have went. It's a really crazy line to look at. Denver and the Chargers.
division game.
Yeah, the Chargers are favored.
Yeah, they're
Chargers.
I think the Chargers
2 in a row. They've lost games by.
I think that they're a decent team, man. I'm not. I wouldn't touch that game if you gave me money to bet on it.
No,
I just wouldn't touch it.
But it's interesting. You don't think? I probably would have considered Denver as my pick, but nope.
There was a lot of injuries last week too. Aaron Rodgers down. Jameis Winston gets hurt.
What is the diagnosis on
Rodgers? If he's on your fantasy team, I think you can go ahead and drop him. I think, if anything, he maybe, best case scenario, might return week 17 for a little, shape up if they're in playoff contention.
And what was Jameis's thing? Because there's no line on that game.
I think he's fine. He's questionable.
Florida State, your brothers, your team, your heart.
He's out. Brady here, friend of the podcast, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, just walked in. Brady, what's up?
Not much.
Yeah, so
Big fan.
You're saying he's out?
No, I'm saying he's fine.
Oh, he's fine.
Yeah.
There is no spread, so obviously they're still waiting for a diagnosis there. That might be a pick too. Buffalo at home against Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay's bad. I told you last week. I told you you were like, I like Tampa Bay, and I was like, dude, don't be surprised if Arizona wins this football game. Like, I don't think Carson Palmer's a little older, but he still has his moments where, AP coming in. Obviously, I didn't predict that or anything, but AP came in, made their offense click.
He was literally
Fitzgerald looked good in the first half. Like,
where would this team be if David Johnson?
That's my point. Like, they're a good football team. You take out David Johnson. I still think they have a good defense.
They gave up 33 points. Against Fitzmagic.
I'm a Fitzmagic. I'm a huge Fitzgerald guy.
Just like the ghost. He's like the
dude. I feel like he's been around forever.
Brett Favre,
you kind of respect him, but kind of don't.
Just gunning it.
Just love it. Love when he has a huge beard. Harvard, right?
He's a Harvard
super
grad.
nerd.
Yeah,
super nerd.
He's he cleaned up though in Harvard. He did. He was the Harvard jock and just slayed.
Are there hot girls at Harvard?
There's probably
I would guarantee
7 or 8.
And here's the thing too. I think
Emma Watson went to Brown, so there's got to be hot girls that go to Ivy League schools.
When you go to these Ivy League schools, I think as I mature as an adult, I think.
LOL at mature.
As I say, you move on with my life. Having money is somewhat attractive.
Oh, dude, absolutely.
So I think, all these girls at Harvard.
Dude, one of my buddies says, you never make more money than, the day that you, marry someone else or whatever.
You're entitled to half their, So, yes, there are
So
hot
any
girls
Ivy League chicks listening to the show.
You're hot.
Sup.
A lot of confidence, clean up a little bit.
2 out of the 3
put
of
some
us
makeup
are single.
Go get some.
All right, well, I guess I'll just kind of use that as a weird transition into my teaser play since I'm one of the single guys. Sup.
Yeah.
Teaser for me, I'm actually going to go a different route this week. I'm going to tease 2 dogs. First leg of my teaser, I'm actually going to go back to Arizona. Arizona visiting the LA Rams in a division game. LA Rams, good football team. Ron, I'll give you credit. You've been on them since the beginning of the year. They're favored by 3.5 at home. But in a division game, I think this is a coin flip game. I'll tease Arizona and get them up. I'll make this a 6.5 point teaser. I'd like to get them up to 10.
You could probably get it above.
You're probably right. You could probably wait, but I'd like you to, if you can, to tease this and get it to 10. I'll take 10 points on the road in a division game as the first leg of my teaser. As far as the second leg of my teaser goes, I'm actually going to take Green Bay.
I like that.
New Orleans, -5.5 on the road, going to Green Bay with no Aaron Rodgers. And this is one of those situations where everyone's going to jump on New Orleans and think, no Aaron Rodgers. I'm going to jump all over New Orleans. They played well last week. Brett Hundley's capable. He's going to have a week to prepare. He's going to have a week getting in sync with playmakers on the outside, Devontae Adams, Jordy Nelson, Randall Cobb, Ty Montgomery has a week now to kind of get in sync with them. He can run a little bit too, do some of the things Aaron Rodgers can do. Obviously not at that level, but I don't think they have to totally change the offense. They can do some of the things.
They're going to tone down the playbook. They're clearly not going to have as many plays in.
My point is, though, that to get Green Bay at home over 10 points again, I'll take that.
I agree. Saints are a different team on the road. They're one of those teams that are great at home and, just aren't quite the same team on the road. And Brett Hundley is good. He was a prolific player in college.
Yeah,
he has
NFL prospect, the legit NFL prospect. Yeah. I think he left a year too early, but he's had time to sit and learn behind Rodgers, similar to how Rodgers did with Brett Favre. Obviously, I don't think they're the same talent, but I think he's more than capable.
Hopefully, this inspires the defense a little bit. It's always been Aaron Rodgers bail us out, but now the defense has to kind of bail the whole team out. Like I said, I think they're going to change the playbook to suit Brett Hundley. Maybe run a little bit more. Interesting to see what they do with the backfield there with Ty Montgomery and what's that other dude's name? Jones.
Yeah, Aaron Jones. Yeah.
Credit to you if you were able to trade him.
Pick him up
and then trade him because a lot of people were high on him.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I like this game's actually it's a tough game to look at, and you might want to stay away from it. But I like Atlanta to pull off an upset at New England. Atlanta's 2-0 on the road, but it's about time that they kick it into gear, and this is a big game for them. Both teams, they're suspect right now, and New England still has an atrocious defense. I don't think they'll ever really figure it out. But I like Matt Ryan finally silencing the critics and pulling out a big win up in New England.
Primetime game.
Backtracking a little bit.
Primetime game.
The Jets gave them kind of a scare.
New England, yeah.
But how about that overturn call?
Oh my, yeah.
Yeah, that's bad.
That was awful.
That was really
was
bad.
Vegas on the other end of the phone there?
They might have been. That was really bad. The Jets ended up covering.
They did cover,
They scored a late garbage TD to end up covering. In this game, for me, I'd actually like the over. I think both defenses suck. Over 55. I mean, maybe that's a square play, but I kind of like the over. I like a lot of points being scored in the primetime game.
Total last week in the Lions game. They went well over.
Yeah, it'll be a shootout.
Interesting to see how the Chiefs, the short week, and they're a favorite on the road division game. Chiefs have won 12 straight.
Thursday night game, yeah.
They have won 12 straight division games. I don't know if Alex Smith has ever lost to the Raiders.
I have no idea. I
think the Broncos are always the team that kind of gives him trouble.
Random stat Ron expects me to know.
Yeah.
Ask a question.
He lost back in 04.
Yeah, I just rattle it off.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, in 04 against the...
04, October 26th, cold night.
04 was the year the Chiefs were good. They were like 13-0, and then
he lost to the Raiders.
Straight
yeah,
games.
I'm not a fucking Chiefs guy, and I'm just happy the Steelers beat them, and Le'Veon Bell just ran all over them.
Let's jump to that.
The best part, hold on, I want to backtrack and kind of use this as my moment to gloat because in a group chat,
Ivy League chicks.
For the Ivy League chicks, sup. In a group chat it was myself, Ron, and my brother. My brother was actually at the Raiders game and was taping the Steelers game, and Ron said, "I'll bet you $100 straight up on the spread," and I guarantee my brother would have taken it if he was going to be watching it. So
he's all
just throwing that out there.
I've offered him multiple $100 bets, and he's declined every single time. The one before that was Floyd Mayweather. I said, "I'll bet you $100. You pay me $100 if he wins. If McGregor wins, I'll give you $500." I said, I will give you $500.
On the count of 3, I want everyone in this arena to scream at the top of your lungs, "F*** the Mayweathers."
He turned it down.
He did. That is true.
I will throw in an awesome Conor McGregor drop.
Back to the Conor McGregor. The dude that answered, the tape for the bitch and complain line sounded like Conor McGregor.
Oh, yeah.
Like that, real thick, Irish. You can't even understand him because it's so thick.
Yeah, it might have been. Who knows? I don't know what type of pool they have over there.
What, who are Super Bowl picks right now?
It's really hard.
The Eagles. If they stay healthy, there's no reason why they shouldn't.
We were talking about power rankings.
Go to the Super Bowl.
Are the Chiefs still number 1? Eagles number 2? I mean, that's what I saw. That's the consensus.
Probably, yeah. I would probably say so. I'd probably say so.
That would be a great Super Bowl.
And my only reason, if someone had the Eagles as one right now, I wouldn't hate it as much as it pains me to say that. But my whole thing is I still want to see Wentz put together an entire season before I'll crown him. He's playing well. It pains me because I fucking hate the Eagles, and it pains me to say that, but Carson Wentz is playing well.
He's wearing a jersey that says Philadelphia on it, by the way.
Yeah, well, there's a difference between being a Sixers fan and being a Eagles fan to me.
It confuses me, but
I didn't have a choice growing up. There's no Pittsburgh basketball team. Right. It was, who else am I supposed to like? Yeah. And my dad's a huge Steelers fan. My mom's kind of an Eagles fan. She grew up in the Philly area. I didn't really have a choice with it. It was Steelers from my dad, and I just love the Sixers, so I didn't really have a choice. But
don't crap where you eat.
I guess so. But
it is a logjam at the top. It really, and back to have the Eagles played a soft schedule? I think maybe a little bit.
In the beginning, it didn't look like a soft schedule, but now it's kind of starting to look like it is. But
they're gonna have some. They're gonna have some games, some division games that are gonna pose some.
I don't think it's a logjam at the top. I think it's just a ton of teams that haven't proved themselves yet, kind of in that top second tier.
There's probably 15 teams that are capable.
To pick a team.
15 teams capable of winning the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
right. You could justify it.
There's no like clear cut. It's not like we talked about joking before. Like the Warriors, like this clear cut favorite.
Right.
Or like in the NFL and even in the MLB playoffs right now, like there's no just like clear cut favorite in my opinion in the MLB or the NFL,
which is fantastic for the sport.
It is.
Right.
It is.
It's
but
fantastic.
It's all dependent on injuries and what team can stay healthy.
And
Packers
stay consistent, get hot at the right
Rodgers
time.
goes down.
Exactly.
That play didn't even look. That play looked like nothing.
That was probably the biggest team that I was afraid of if the Eagles were to make a playoff push. It was the Green Bay Packers, but with Rodgers going down, I mean, kind of happy about it.
I don't know who the other like major threat is in the NFC. Like I was off
Seattle.
on Atlanta all year. Like Seattle, their line sucks. I don't
you
think
still
they
can't.
are what they are.
If you get them at home,
They turn it on. They always turn it on.
I mean,
at the
if
right times.
you guys will hate me saying this, but if Dallas can put it together with that offensive line, like I think they're a threat too. So I don't know.
I think the Rams are decent. I think they're a playoff team that
So let's do this. Super Bowl picks right now, Week 8. Who do you got, Ron?
I want to say the Chiefs just as a fan, but I really watching the Steelers game. If the Steelers can run the ball, I will say that if the Steelers can run the ball like they did against the Chiefs, they're going to beat anybody.
Mm-hmm.
And Ben will turn it on. Hopefully, I don't like to see it. Ben's not in a good state right now, and he's still. Yes, they did win, but I wouldn't say Ben. It was Ben's game. I didn't think he looked.
No, they
great
turn around and handed
means.
the ball off to the best player on their team.
Right,
Like, that's
so,
what you should be doing.
If they can run,
So you got the Steelers, AFC.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
NFC's tough.
The Pats, maybe. I think they're still the betting favorite.
How cool would it be for a PA Super Bowl? Everybody wants to see it in PA, obviously. But
That would be unbelievable.
Yeah.
And there's a legit possibility.
Absolutely.
It's so tough, man. Like I
think it's at Lucas Oil.
Like if you had a gun to my head and said like you pick a Super Bowl team and like if you don't get it you're gonna fucking die, I'm still gonna put my money on the Patriots and Bill Belichick and Tom Brady from the AFC. Like, do they look like the best team right now? No, not at all. But in the end, I'm still gonna trust the guys who have traditionally got it done.
I like that.
And again, I hate that. Like I don't like picking that, but that's just like that's what it is. Like
right, they're only gonna get better. He's working with completely different.
As far as the NFC teams, I don't know. Like I think right now the Eagles are playing the best in the NFC, but I don't want to trust that that's going to continue with a young quarterback who still hasn't proven it enough to me. And I think that's fair. I think you can he hasn't played in the playoffs. He hasn't played in a huge game yet.
Right.
I'm trying to look at it from someone who doesn't like them but is trying to give them respect at the same time and say like I think that's a fair take. Is that a fair take?
It is all matchups too. If the Eagles face someone that have a prolific passing offense, I think that's trouble for them.
It is.
But if they face the Vikings, who aren't, okay, Sam Bradford looks okay, but someone that runs, is run heavy, they're probably going to have success.
I think the Eagles they're solid all the way. And when you look at their team throughout, they're solid and they have depth. And throughout the NFL, it's going to be dependent on who stays healthy and can ride the wave to the playoffs. But
will you go to a playoff game if the Eagles make it? When was the last Eagles playoff?
I hope so.
Appearance?
2011.
Was it the Saints when the?
Yes. Yeah. It was Chip Kelly.
Are we Chip Kelly guys?
Hardly.
Was that were they winning that? I remember I put a live bet in on the Saints in that game.
That was smart. That was a good bet.
Are you a Doug Peterson guy?
I love Doug Peterson.
He's
a lot of people bitch
Andy
about
Reid.
him. A lot of people bitch about him, and I don't understand why.
It's because he's a player coach, so he's very he's very passive, but also not at the same time because he goes for every fourth down. And,
I like that though.
Yeah, I love it.
Do you have a Doug Peterson impression?
He's too dry for me. He's too much of a normal guy, but I'll work on it for next week.
Okay with that. I got nothing else for NFL. I don't know about you guys or any
Do
other.
any of our fans here that were beating down our door have any comments? Ty, we did talk about archery season 2 weeks ago. I don't know if you listened, but we talked about archery season and what.
Oh, were you?
Yeah, it's good stuff. You're a big archery hunter. Any thoughts?
You can listen to I think it was week 6.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a big archery guy. I listen to a lot of archery podcasts, but yeah, maybe I'll start tuning in if.
Archery segment. Yeah, weekly archery segment. I like it.
Do you got any hot takes,
lost.
Brady? I know you were like chomping at the bit as I was chirping about the Eagles, so I know you got to have some type of take or something.
I mean, I'm an Eagles fan, so I don't want to, come off as being like a real. I don't want to sound biased, but I don't think you guys are giving the secondary enough credit. Right now, they're looking decent. All right, they're middle of the pack, but they're only going to get better as the season goes on, and they're only going to get better with Ronald Darby coming back in
When
2-3
does he come
weeks.
back? I was going to ask.
The
trading
weeks, I
of
think.
injured players.
Yeah.
And Sidney Jones.
And Sidney Jones, top
Never
10
heard of him.
talent who dropped in the second round.
He's going to be a top 10.
Shout out to Marcus.
Yeah,
Peters.
exactly. So that's what I'm saying. Honestly, with the best front seven in the NFL, secondary that's only going to get better. I think their defense, I mean, we always say defense wins championships, right? So I think their defense can bail them out if Carson Wentz, somewhat struggles, but he's stepping up whenever, I feel like he needs to. Thursday night, primetime against the Panthers, I think he looked great. So,
Yeah,
honestly,
I just in terms of the secondary, I want to see them tested. I'm just taking a look at their schedule and who they've played in terms of, quarterbacks and the wide receivers and stuff. I haven't seen a prolific passing, them face a prolific passing offense yet, which is why I still question.
Cam Newton is definitely a quarterback that could have picked them apart, and he threw
Really?
three.
I wouldn't say he's a
Cam
pocket
Newton's
QB.
a pocket QB. His
He's
career
definitely one of the
percentage.
I would say he's one of the better quarterbacks in the league.
I think he is, but I don't think he's a pocket quarterback. I think he's a guy that makes plays outside of the pocket.
They have faced Phillip Rivers.
Picking you apart.
And that was a close game. That came down to the wire. I thought that was a really... That was a good
Will they
football
be tested through the air? Do they face any...
What I'm trying to say is that
Raiders,
I think
maybe?
when they've been tested through the air, I think they've kind of stepped up. I mean, they had 3 picks against Cam. They had what could have been close to 3, maybe 4 picks against Phillip Rivers. Turned out to be none, but still with the opportunities that they had, jumping routes and all that. I just think that, if you do try and pick them apart, I think they're not going to be as bad as what people think.
And they're only going to get better.
I think it's going to be a great game on Monday night.
I agree.
I think it's going to be a great game, and I think it's a 50-50 game.
I think
division game, under the lights, Monday night, Kirk Cousins is playing.
Yep, he's settling
Good football.
in. Yep.
This is a flip a coin type game. Eagles win this game, they're in the absolute driver's seat. They lose this game, things get a little bit interesting. So if I was a fan, an Eagles fan, I'm probably nervous for this game. I mean, they're at home, they should win, they should get it done. But I think that's going to be a good football game.
Yep.
So
let's end it.
All right. Adios. Later.